Claudia, this is feedback for the interim submission of the hotel project. The assessment criteria for this particular part of the project was looking at the concept, the annotation on the presentation. Planning was the big thing, the visual explanation of the proposal at this stage, and your consideration to materials, finishes and products. So at first glance, we can see you've got a fair bit of annotation here explaining the background to the project, the fact it's a student, kind of not hostel, but a student accommodation. So that in itself, kind of, when you look at the colour schemes and things that are coming across, there's a kind of young sort of feel to materials and elements that you've picked. Also the eco sustainability aspects that comes across as well. You've got an interesting collection of little sketch visuals, little, is it concept models, little sort of photoshopped illustrations of how some of these things are going to look, and I think that's quite effective. Although I would like to maybe seen more of some of these things, and part of that is maybe in relationship to how resolved your plan is in allowing you to sort of illustrate these things effectively. I think looking at your project without you here to talk about it, it becomes evident how important it is for the viewer to see what you are thinking the space will look like. So just looking at the plan for the reception area, I think it needs a wee bit more annotation to maybe explain what some of the aspects are that you've sort of designed into this. There looks like a sort of a shelf unit with high stools, and I'm not seeing an illustration for that, so I'm just wondering, if that's something in particular that was worthwhile sort of pointing out. You also have a stair, which I'm not sure where it's going up to, because it doesn't correlate to the stair that you've got upstairs. There's something not quite right about. I'm not seeing how that sort of works. So I think some of the aspects of the reception area maybe need either illustrated better, or maybe we can have a talk at the drawing board about how you envisage these, and how we can get across what it is you're trying to do with this space, how you see it operating or working. Coming upstairs into the first floor area, where you have the majority of activities and areas to the front of the building, I don't think that's a problem. What I have commented on is the fact that you have spaces that are sort of going to nowhere. I think my first sort of feeling is the bistro area looks quite interesting. I'd like to see a wee bit more about how that's sort of working. Maybe just check the scale of your furniture in that instance. And again, I think it's something that could be sort of worked up, and maybe make it a bit more comprehensible to somebody that's sort of looking at it. I do see I've got stairs up onto the sort of raised level. Again, should you be considering ramping to allow for access for all to these sort of areas? You've then got a social area, and again, I'm not seeing any illustrations of how that's sort of working. And then you've got your bar area, and the main feature seems to be the sort of bar counter and then lots of little stools. I think this needs a lot more attention to the sort of the planning of the sort of space. Maybe that's something we could talk at the drawing board. I think the idea of how you want the spaces to look is you've got that sort of sorted, but I think the planning is something that really needs addressed very quickly, and I say it's maybe something we can talk about at the drawing board. Thank you.